All right, today we're going to talk about a secret weapon for learning. It's a powerful skill that the best students use to really master just about any subject. It's called metacognition, and we're going to dive into how this one thing can totally change the way you learn.
Okay, let me ask you something. You know that feeling, right? Your eyes have moved across every single word on the page, you get to the very bottom, and then you realize you have absolutely no clue what you just read. It's that super frustrating moment when you know your brain was just on autopilot. And that's a huge barrier to actually learning anything.
So how do you switch that autopilot off? Well, the answer, and really the key to much deeper learning, is this thing called metacognition. The official definition is your knowledge about your own learning. But really, it's just the conscious act of grabbing the controls back from your brain when it starts to drift off.
Let's just strip away the jargon for a second. At its heart, metacognition is, simply put, thinking about your thinking. It's literally just taking a moment to step back and ask yourself, hey, am I actually getting this? Or am I just looking at words on a page?
And this is the part that makes it so powerful. It's not just a thought, it becomes an action. It's like this little alarm bell goes off in your head the second you get confused, saying, whoa, wait a minute, I don't get that. But, and this is key, it doesn't stop there. The next thought is, okay, so what am I going to do about it? Should I reread that paragraph? Should I look up that word? That's the active part that changes everything.
All right, so how do we actually build this skill? Let's get practical.
You know, one of the most powerful strategies is also one of the simplest. It's self-questioning. And this isn't some deep philosophical exercise. It's a simple habit you can learn that forces your brain to switch from that passive mode into active engagement. It's the difference between just, say, highlighting a textbook and actually interrogating.
And it can be as simple as this. While you're learning, you just actively pause and ask yourself, who, what, where, how? So if you're reading a history chapter, it's who are the main people here? What was the big event? But if you're doing a math problem, the questions just shift. What is this problem really asking for? How does this connect to the formula I just learned? You see? This simple act forces you to process the information instead of just letting it fly by.
So why does a simple little trick like asking questions work so well? To understand that, we kind of have to look under the hood at how our brains are wired.
Well, it all boils down to the huge difference between what's called rote learning and meaningful learning. Rote learning is just brute force memorization, like cramming a bunch of vocab words the night before a test. But meaningful learning, that's about connecting new stuff to what you already have stored in your brain. And that little self-questioning trick, that's the bridge that gets you from just memorizing to truly understanding.
The cognitive science behind all this is called schema theory. And the idea is pretty cool. Your brain doesn't just store facts in little isolated boxes. Instead, it builds these huge interconnected webs of knowledge called schemas. And when a new piece of info can hook into a web that's already there, it sticks. It has a home. It has context.
Here's a fantastic way to think about it. Imagine your brain is a massive filing cabinet. A schema is just a well-labeled folder in that cabinet. So when you learn about a new battle, it has a Civil War folder to go right into. When you learn a new theorem, it connects to your calculus folder. Without that folder, that new piece of information is just like a loose piece of paper on the floor. Super easy to lose.
Okay, the theory is great, but let's bring this all back home. What's the mission here? It's really simple. It's about taking control.
And look, there are simple tools that can make this whole process really tangible, like this KWL chart. Before you even start a new topic, you can quickly map out what you already know, what you want to know, and then after it's all done, what you actually learned. This little chart becomes a roadmap for your brain. It turns learning from just a random walk into a truly intentional journey.
And this all boils down to one powerful idea. The most effective learners out there aren't just passive sponges just soaking up information. No way. They are the directors of their own learning. They're the ones constantly checking in, tweaking their strategy, and taking control of the entire process.
So I want to leave you with this question. Now that you have this new tool, this idea of metacognition, what's one thing, just one thing, that you're going to try to learn more intentionally tomorrow?